It's Mike's Martial Arts, the premier podcast for Canadian MMA. Hosted by Canada's own Jerry Bossack. Tap in or tap out, because he's up next.
Hello and welcome back to Mike's Martial Arts. Today, I'm joined by the #1 ranked lightweight in Atlantic Canada, undefeated fighter for Fight League Atlantic, and Dartmouth's own Luke de St. Croix. Luke, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the reaching out and having me.
Anytime, man. Happy to have you in. So, why don't we get started? How'd you get started in mixed martial arts?
I got started in mixed martial arts when I was 16. I just jumped right into a gym. For one reason or another, I thought I could just do it. I never looked back after that. Basically day in, day out, almost every day, after school, after work, headed to the martial arts gym.
How did you get put on to MMA in the first place? Were you alone, or did you have friends that took it?
I think I just saw it on TV, like every once in a while on Friday night, Saturday night. My dad or my granddad watching it, and then I just naturally took an interest, and eventually I just felt like I could do it for some reason or another. Blind confidence, I guess, at the time.
Seems to have paid off.
Yeah, I guess so now. But
And for the people at home, you said you started training when you're 16. How old are you now?
23, yeah.
For the past 7 years, have you been training at the same gym the whole time, or have you switched it up a little
I've
bit?
switched to a couple different gyms. I'm currently training and fighting out of Tower 1 Combat Sports in Dartmouth with my head coach, Gavin Tucker. And just buying into the process over there at the best gym in Atlantic Canada. And if you want to be a fighter and you want to be a successful fighter, there's no other place to be, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And having trained with the high-level guys like Gavin Tucker, what do those partners bring to the gym to help you improve your game?
Just the commitment to the craft of cage fighting, MMA, martial arts it's unparalleled. It's pretty amazing, the commitment to the craft, the commitment to training, the commitment to the lifestyle even. It's like nothing I've ever seen at a mixed martial arts gym before, and with our head coach Gavin Tucker being in the UFC, traveling throughout all these different countries, different gyms, training in Las Vegas, Thailand. Just the wealth of knowledge that he brings to the table is insane.
And all of these trips he's going on to Thailand and such, is he bringing that knowledge back and sharing that with everybody else at the gym too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can't. He's like a dictionary. He just doesn't. All he is martial arts in every conversation. Every conversation I think I've had with him, it's about MMA or something. So he lives, breathes, and that's it for him.
I'm sure that passion is felt through the gym by everybody, eh?
100%. It's really, it's the place to be if you want to be a fighter, in my opinion, in Atlantic Canada.
Right on. What was the biggest thing you learned about yourself after you started training?
There's definitely a lot of lessons to learn in fighting, in training, and in actual combat sports time itself, whether it's kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA. I do think you learn a bit about yourself in some way, and I think your personality comes out in how you fight as well, for different fighters. Some guys are ultra aggressive in the back room, they're hyping themselves up, they're getting ready to, it looks like they're going out to a rock concert, but they're going out to a fist fight. And then you got other guys that are cool, calm, collected, not really saying a word, just trying to stay calm. And that shows in the cage as well. So if guys can be ultra aggressive and maybe throw caution to the wind to land that big punch, or you got someone who's a little more cool, calm, collected, and calculating the next move. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned. You get put in bad positions and you find out what you're gonna do when the cards are down, when your chips are down, and you find out a little bit about yourself, I think, for sure, in actual cage time, mat time, but as well, you know, in the training room. I think it's a beautiful thing, just training martial arts as well. It's a very great outlet, I think.
Sure. And backpedaling a little bit, you said everybody on fight night has a different way of how they're looking, whether they're super amped up or they're calm and collected. What does fight night look like for you?
Yeah, it's definitely different for every fighter. I think every fighter has their own different approach. It's never easy. That's one thing. I don't really think it's like a roller coaster. The anxiety's pretty high beforehand when you're in the lineup, and then when it's time to go, when you're fighting in the cage, when you're on the ride, you're not really thinking about anything else. You don't have time to be scared, anxious. I like to try to stay cool and calm as I can, and just stay focused, not hype myself up too much, just breathe, and I think it shows through the cage. I try to approach fighting the same way.
Right on. I suppose through all that time spent training, I mean, when it comes to fight night, you pretty well, a lot of the work has been done already, eh?
The physical work has definitely been done. Your body, you're going to fight how you train. You're not going to do anything in the cage that you haven't done in the gym. You know, some guys think that they're going to do a spinning back kick, you know what I mean? They're going to jump off the cage and land the Anthony Pettis kick, you know, but if you've never done that in the gym, odds are you won't be throwing that when the guy's trying to kill you in front of 100 people, 200 people, 300 people. So, yeah, I think it's more just a mental thing, fight night, and even, you know, the week before, the month before, the hour before, that's a new experience usually for, you know, guys like myself who have had a handful of fights. You know, I'm not a 10, 20 fight veteran yet, but I'm on my way, so I'm still learning that part of the game as I go.
Do you have any pre-fight rituals or anything that you're sort of getting in the habit of doing to keep that comfortability before you make the walk, or is it still kind of progressing as you're getting through your fighting career?
Yeah, pre-fight rituals, not too many, you know. I think every fight it's obviously different, every fight. It's different, you know. It's different arena, different rank, different opponent. I don't really have any pre-fight rituals, no. I just take it as I go, I guess, for now.
Right on. Well, let's stop talking about pre-fights and start talking about fights. We'll take a little break from questions and look at your last fight for FLA against Josh LeBlanc, if you want to help me break this down a little bit.
Okay, yeah, no, that was October 15th or October 10th, I think that fight happened.
Here we go. You see immediately locking those hands, getting them sat down. Let's take a pause for a second. So was going into this fight, did you know that grappling was going to be something you were going to rely on a little bit more than the striking?
Yeah, I definitely going into this fight, I thought I'd have the edge in grappling. I'd studied my opponent's fights, and it was a habit I noticed for sure that even in the fights he won, that he would give up a takedown. So I knew I had an advantage in that department for the fight.
Perfect, perfect. All right, we'll keep playing through. And as soon as you get him down, you're doing a good job keeping side control. He tries to get the hook there. You go right into mount, lay in the ground and pound the whole time. Did you practice ground and pound a lot going into this? Is that typically a big part of your arsenal, or is it something that came out as a game?
No, that was definitely part of the plan. I think the amount of rounds I did with a 200-pound heavy bag of 16-ounce gloves, and literally this ground and pound on the bag. I've done this for hours at that point and leading up to this fight, so it was pretty specific training.
I mean, you certainly look like someone who knows what they're doing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Right here, he tries to give it up, but you get the hook in around the right leg there, and you take his back. And then in just a second, you're going to turn him over and lock in that body triangle right away. Yeah. Right there, did you know like you were coming up on the end of the fight? He looks pretty tight. Looks like he's starting to gas a little bit.
Yeah, so usually that's one of my go-to positions, that body triangle. But I just wanted to get back to mount, actually. I wanted to get back to punching. It's usually I'm super happy to be on the back looking for the choke, but he did a really good job at defending his neck for sure. So I felt I felt it was a better route to get back to staying on top and landing punches.
Right on, right on. And then after you get back into mount, we'll play this a little bit. Yeah. So you got the mount, and then right here you start pinning his left arm against the octagon there. Then you step over and lock in the triangle right away. As soon as you got that leg over, did you know?
Yeah, as soon as I got that leg over his head, I felt I had it. I'd been in that position hundreds, if not thousands of times in the gym. So I felt pretty confident. I was like, okay.
Also, if we pause here, something I haven't noticed a lot of people do, you have your foot there pressed up against the cage. Is that helping apply pressure to the triangle as you're doing it? It almost looks like it's tightening it up a little bit more.
Not necessarily, just having the angle, a 90-degree angle, while you have the triangle choke on. So I actually wrap my arm under his leg to get a 90-degree angle. In the cage, it's just can sometimes be in the way of chokes or in the way of, a sweep. Sometimes you're so used to an open mat, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style, where you can get a sweep and end up on top. Well, I can't sweep them this way. There's a cage in the way. So, not necessarily, but.
All right, and then if we play the rest of this, we'll see if it's too much for him, give him up, and then you get your hand raised right there. Another one bring you to 4-0.
Yeah, it was a good night for sure. Josh LeBlanc was a game opponent. He was a tough opponent. He's 2 wins, 1 loss. Very tough guy, former football player, big left hand, and he was a game opponent that night, so I was happy with how it went for sure. I could not be.
Right on. And this fight was at lightweight, of course. Your last 2 fights before you signed with FLA, both of those are at featherweight.
Yep.
Do you plan on making that cut again, or do you feel a little bit more comfortable at lightweight now, a little more filled out? What's your plan for the future?
We'll see what the future brings, for sure. But for now, I'm happy at lightweight. I do feel a little more filled out. I was a lot younger. I think I was 19 years old my first fight at 145 pounds. So 23 now, I've grown, getting the old man strength. Yeah, the old man strength is coming along. So we'll stay at 155 for now. That's the plan with me and my coaches.
Right on. And what's next for Luc de St. Croix? Do you have any fights coming up?
Yeah, so I'm going to be fighting May 6th in Windsor, Nova Scotia for Fight League Atlantic. So that's been in training camp for the past, I'm always training even when I don't have anything scheduled, but the past month, 2 months have been just pedal to the metal, full gears down. So. Right
on, man. Well, I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for joining me again and breaking down your fight. It's a pleasure to have you on. Where can the people at home find you?
I'm just on Instagram, just my name, Luc de St. Croix, and then, just Instagram, basically.
Perfect. Well, it was a pleasure having you. Thanks, Luc.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks.